This question says, how can I spend quality time with my dogs at home outside of something that involves food? I have two dogs with different anxiety issues and see them wanting connection, but I'm not sure what else to do. I love this question. I think it's a really great one. The answer is going to really depend on the individual dog, and more than that, even the individual relationship. So the intersection of the individual dog and the individual human. In my work with dogs who are chronically dysregulated, one of the most important things that we need to do, particularly for cases that involve fear or anxiety, are to create safe places and safe relationships. And certainly food can be a part of that, but it is not necessarily one of the main things that I would put in that category under the idea of how do we build relationship. Some places where food might pop up there could be through things like treat retreat or pattern games that involve food. But a lot of it is going to be more focused on the relationship itself. So one thing we can do is be safe people. This involves knowing our dog's body language and responding appropriately. Consent testing can be a huge piece of this. So noticing if our dog likes or doesn't like something we're doing, something sometimes as simple as petting. It's also about changing our interactions with them so that they are as low stress as possible, even if that can mean a little bit more imagination or a little bit more work on our end. It can also mean accepting the dog that you have in front of you as who they are, which is not the same thing as just saying, oh, like my dog is anxious and they're always going to be anxious, but appreciating that the dog in front of you might have specific wants and needs that we sort of need to adjust or adapt our own expectations to. And then within that, it's this really fun adventure of figuring out what your dog enjoys. For me and my dogs, we really love hiking together. We love getting out in nature. I find it particularly joyful, and I think they do too, when they are off leash. So a lot of the time and energy that I put into my relationship activities with my dogs involves finding places where we can safely do that, where they can be off leash and I can watch them run around and explore and roll and grow stuff and be dogs. That brings them a lot of joy. It brings me a lot of joy. It satiates a lot of their needs. And so that's really an excellent thing for us. And there is a lot of adaptation for the individual dog. So like my kiddo with stranger danger needs different things sometimes, or my 15-year-old boys need different things sometimes than say the 8-year-old German Shepherd. But we are very fortunate that that is something that everyone enjoys doing, including the humans. And that keeps my emotional cup full, as well as our relational cup and as well as satiating their needs. Personal play can be a really big one. The play way can be a good way to dive into what some of that can look like. And it's certainly something that some dogs do really naturally, and some dogs, we're building that skill. We're building that relationship and that trust. But personal play can be really nice. And personal play is much more social play than object play. So there is a difference between like fetch and tug, and focusing more on the interactions between the people. Trust is a huge piece of play. Communication is a huge piece of play, and feeling safe is a huge piece of play. There are so many benefits to social play. And so when we can engage in social play with our pets, that can also be really, really fulfilling. One thing that my German Shepherd and I really enjoy doing together is nose work, which certainly can be done with food, but it can also be done with toys or scents. And that is an activity that we really enjoy doing together. Some dogs who enjoy touching might really enjoy just some quiet time together, cuddling, and that could be sort of a range of things. That can range from just being close and sitting together. Maybe the dog is doing something calming like a chew or something, and the human is, also doing something calming like watching TV or reading. Maybe you're just enjoying each other's company. Maybe then we're working in some petting, some Tellington touch, some massage. We can also, collaborate with physical therapists or medical professionals, etc., to do like some stretching. That sort of thing can be really nice. And in that realm, somewhere between that and, the off-leash hiking, for a lot of dogs, just going out and observing things can be really enriching, especially our guardian breeds. But, going out and having like a little picnic, so like a setup at the park, you and your dog, a nice big blanket, maybe you have a long line and a nice drink for yourself. Decompression walks can be really, really nice. Some of these might involve food, particularly for management, and for calming if the dog is needs that level of support. So that might not be the right food-free activity for everyone, but for some dogs that can be really nice and is easier to do without using food to manage or help create a calmer state. I think the trick is to find out what your dog enjoys and what you enjoy, and then find something that matches up well. And I think that these sorts of activities are so vital for the well-being of the dog and the human, particularly when we're dealing with complex behavior needs, anxiety disorders, dysregulation, because that work is hard, and it's important to remember why we're doing it. It's important to keep that relationship cup full, as well as satiate our needs and our pets' needs.